What's up, everybody? It's your girl Yavi Wasabi,
and the Kyanah,
and this is Beyond the Beauty. No expectations,
no opportunities,
underestimation, and this is why we are the table. Today's episode is sponsored by Linda Look by Linda. She does personalized styling and creativity styling. You can find her on Instagram at LSounders.
And this is also produced by iambeastnetwork.
Back to the scheduled program. So welcome everybody to the first episode of Beyond the Beauty. Once again, I am Yavi Wasabi.
And I am the Kyanah.
So let's talk a little bit about ourselves. Let's introduce ourselves to the new people and the new viewers watching Beyond the Beauty.
Yes.
So I am Yavi. I am a 21-year-old model/model coach. I started modeling when I was 18. It started off as a hobby at first. And then it kind of just, took over. I was not expecting to go as far as I did. So it was very, very shocking. But besides modeling, I am about to start school in June. About to start college, guys. I'm about to start college to be an ultrasound tech. I am very excited about that. I never thought about being an ultrasound tech, but it pays good money. And, money is very important in today's economy because things are expensive nowadays.
I agree.
So let's hear a little bit about you, Kyanah.
So, like I said, I am Kyanah. I am a 16-year-old model here located in Indianapolis, Indiana. Modeling was not my first pick. My first pick was definitely dance because that was something that I was doing before I could walk. So I ended up transitioning over to modeling, and ever since then, it just took off.
So you mentioned dancing. I was never a dancer, could never be a dancer. Don't know how to dance, okay?
Yes.
So let's get more into that. Let's talk about us growing up and us being young. So I know for me, I grew up in a household with 8 people. It was me and my 5 siblings, and my mother and my father. Okay, that's a lot of people in one little apartment, 2-bedroom apartment. I'm talking about, okay? I'm not talking about no big fancy house. We're talking about a 2-bedroom apartment. So growing up, it was really hard because, I am the youngest out of my 5. And with that, it's really hard because you have nobody that you can confide in. You have nobody that you can talk to, share a story to, because they're all older. They don't want to hear that. They're teenagers, and I'm the only child, and my parents was too busy being parents, working, and doing other things, so I had nobody to share that connection with.
Right.
So I always grew up feeling alone some type of way, because growing up and being the youngest, you really have nobody to talk to. Yes, I have 2 sisters. Yes, I have 3 brothers, but once again, they're all older than me.
I get that.
So going to school and, I didn't have many friends because, once again, I have social anxiety. One thing about me, I do have social anxiety. I am afraid to talk to people. I am, talking to people makes me so nervous. I could know you for years, and just saying one little word will freak me out, okay? So growing up with social anxiety, it made me, close myself in a box because I didn't want to say the wrong thing. I didn't want to embarrass myself. And y'all know kids in school. If you ain't loud and doing the most, you're pretty much a nerd, and people think, oh, look at this girl. She just thinks she all that. Because no, that was never me. But people just never liked me in school. How was it for you in school?
So in school, it was definitely harder because I think that when I was younger, everybody was a lot taller and was a lot more developed. Yeah. I would say that. So it was harder for me to catch up, and all the boys want girls that's tall and got all this extra. So it was just dang, what am I doing that they not? So
that is one thing I've always used to ask is, what are y'all doing that I'm not? Is it because I'm quiet? Is it because I'm always to myself? Even when I try to,
it's you feel awkward.
Yes, it is you feel awkward, you feel you are you are not supposed to be in their circle.
Exactly.
And that is the energy I used to get through my 3rd grade year all the way up to my 7th grade year. I used to get that you don't belong here, Yavi. You don't fit in our circle. You're a little too weird. You're a little too off-brand. You're a little too quiet. And I'm like, why is that? Have you ever felt that way? Like, did people ever treat you like that?
I definitely feel like it's came sometimes where I would be very standoffish because I would get that type of energy from those people that I would want to hang around. It was always because, oh, they got the new pair of Jordans, or oh, she got this purse, or oh, she got that, or oh, they got that. So it's like, I never really felt like I belonged anywhere. But as I got older, I started meeting those people that had those same problems just like me. So it started to make school a lot easier, especially socially. Made it a lot easier for me.
So I remember talking to you, or you mentioning this was outside of the podcast. You did dance.
Yes.
And you sadly had to resign from dance because of the bullies. Can you talk a little bit about that? Because I've never had that experience. Like, I've never been in a dance group or a cheerleading group and, had to face something like that. So can you elaborate a little bit more about that?
So I had ended up being on a dance team for about 7 years, located here in Indianapolis. It was a great dance team. I had made my way up to being captain of the company. So it was definitely a big responsibility. And at that time, I think I was about 12 or 13.
Yeah.
And a situation ended up happening with me and one of those girls that were on the dance team outside of like dance practice or whatever. Happened outside of the dance team. And it took a really big turn on my life because, again, dance was my everything. Yeah. Dancing before I could walk.
Yeah.
So it was definitely a bittersweet moment, but I had to step away from dance, not only for my physical health, but for my mental health as well, because that whole situation really put me in a really deep and dark place. I ended up social distancing from everybody.
Oh, yeah.
Being very to myself. I lost a lot of confidence in myself. And it was definitely one of the worst moments that I had experienced in my life. Have you ever, had a situation happen and you kind of pushed back and like lost your confidence?
I'm trying to stem to when I was younger. I've had a lot of situations like that, but it's never been anybody I've been close to. Like, for instance, I remember I was in the 6th grade, I believe. And at the time, I was living in Anderson, Indiana. And I was going to, what is the middle school? I forgot what the middle school name was. But I was going to this middle school in Anderson, Indiana. I was on a bus one day, and I believe I was coming home. Okay, I was coming home. I was sitting with one of my friends. We were sitting at the, the top of the bus. And this boy, he was getting off the bus. He was a tall, light skinned. I believe he was in the 8th grade. Okay, now mind you, I'm in the 6th grade. This boy is in the 8th grade. All right. He walks off the bus. Well, he was about to walk off the bus. As he was about to walk down the steps to get off the bus, he called me a monkey to my face unexpectedly. And I'm like, oh. And I'm sitting there as a 6th grader. I'm thinking, what did I do to you for you to say that? We're both, I get it, I may be darker. You may have a white mom and a black dad, but at the same time, you're still black.
Right.
You still have blackness in you. So what made you turn around, look at me of all people and say that?
Right.
I don't even know you. Never even had a conversation with you. So I would say that's probably the closest thing. But like I said, I didn't really have friends in middle school or elementary school. I had maybe like 1 or 2, but that was it. I've never had a big circle because, I don't know, when you tend to have big circles of friendships,
stuff ends up happening.
Lots of
drama, I will say.
Lots of drama, and it just get messy. And that's one thing I've learned at a young age is that stay away from the big friend groups. How do you feel about big friend groups?
I've definitely learned that over the years, especially being in high school. I remember freshman year, I had the biggest friend group ever. I'm talking about 15 to 12 kids. Biggest friend group. That friend group ended up, falling apart. But it was still a couple of people that I would talk to within that friend group. Sophomore year.
Yeah.
had a smaller friend group, maybe about 6 or 7 people. That was okay. That friend group ended up falling apart. Junior year,
It's the friend group,
I
y'all.
only have about 3 friends now. I feel like I've noticed that every year the friend group gets smaller and smaller.
Yeah.
And smaller. And by the end of senior year, I'll probably have about maybe 2 or 1 friends, maybe even no friends. So I definitely think that the bigger the friend group, the more problems. Smaller the friend group, less problems.
See, and that's the thing. You went to in-person high school. I did online during my high school year, okay?
How was that?
Oh, child, it was a good experience, but it led to some dangerous situations. And what I mean by that is, okay, so when I was going into high school, it was around COVID time. So schools was closed anyway. So I had no choice but to do online school, okay? So the first year, my 9th grade year, cool, cute. 10th grade year, cool, cute. 11th grade year, that's when things started to change. Okay, I started noticing, you know what? I never really talked to people anyways in school, so, not a big problem.
Right.
But I started to notice mental changes. I started noticing that I didn't really like going outside just in general anymore. I started realizing that I really hated talking to people. And I just started being like, I just got more sadder and sadder every day. Right. But, me being me, I pushed it off. I'm like, you know what? It's probably nothing. It's going to go away and never going to come back, okay?
Right.
Cool. Went through my 11th grade year, feeling a little, 12th grade year. That's when I really start feeling, okay, something is wrong. That is when I first got a taste of anxiety. Now, I have social anxiety, but that's only when I talk to people.
Right.
I've never just had regular anxiety before. And I remember laying down in my bed one day, in the middle of the night, and my heart just started beating. I'm talking pounding, boom, 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 boom. I'm like, oh, what's going on? And then I just started hearing, like, my mind just started racing and saying stuff, and I'm like, what is going on? I was like, let me just go to sleep. Right. Maybe I just been up for too long.
Sleep it off.
Let me just sleep it off. Woke up the next morning, same feeling, heart pounding, boom, 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 boom. I'm like, okay, now something is really wrong.
So I remember one day my mother, she was like, you want to go get some ice cream? And by the way, at the time we were living here. Here in Indianapolis. So it was different because I wasn't around my family. It was just me and my mom.
Right.
I'm gonna get on to that a little bit later. She was like, you want to go get some ice cream? I was like, sure. We went to go get some ice cream. And I just told her, I was like, I've been feeling weird lately. Like, I just been having like this, I don't know, this just pounding sensation in my heart. She was like, oh, that's probably anxiety. I said, anxiety? She was like, yeah, that's probably what it is. She was like, you don't go out, you don't really talk to people. I was like,
but I have social anxiety. I mean, I don't talk to people anyways. Why would this type of anxiety affect me now?
Right.
And she was like, if it get worse, we can go, to the doctor and they can see if they can get you a therapist, blah, blah, blah. Okay, fast forward, went to the doctor. She suggested therapy. I said no. She suggested that and antidepressants. I said, you know what? No, I think I could do it on my own. Okay, after that, graduated. Woo, celebration. Yay, 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 yay. After that, 2 months later, I fell into depression. Okay, depression was real. It just hit me out of nowhere. I remember one day I was staying at my sister's house because she was pregnant around the time. And she was like, I really need somebody to stay with me and watch over me. I said, sure, okay, I could do that. Watched over her, stayed there for about like 3 months. The 4th month, I couldn't do it anymore. I broke down crying. My sister was like, Yavi, what's wrong? I said, I don't know. Called my mother in the middle of the night. When I say in the middle of the night, I'm talking about it was 12 o'clock at night. Yes, in the middle of the night. She was like, Yavi, what's wrong? I said, I don't know. I just need to go home. Went home. Months and months and months, I was just dealing with this deep depression. I didn't know where it was coming from. I was crying every day, suicidal thoughts. Like, it was bad.
Right.
Bad. But for me personally, I've always had that will to never do anything. I'm like, okay, no, Yavi, there's a reason why you're here. There's a reason why your body is still pushing. Don't give up now, And during that time, I said, you know what? I just need a hobby. And that is when modeling came in. Okay? Now go ahead, Kyanah. Tell me about, have you ever been through depression, and how was it for you, and how did it come about, and how did it end?
So going back to that situation that happened on the dance team. It definitely took me into a deep depression. Before that, I was a very happy girl, smiling girl, cracking jokes all the time, and I had a very, I want to say, bright spirit.
Yeah.
After that situation, all of that was out the window. I didn't talk to anybody. Some days I wouldn't eat.
Oof.
Some days I would just go home and just go to sleep.
I remember them days.
I remember grades were slipping. I felt so unmotivated. Some days I would cry and wouldn't know why I was crying.
Yeah.
And it was like, I was so young, and I'm like, what is going on with me? Why am I not the normal Kyanah that I know I am? So I ended up talking to my grandma.
Yeah.
And she was like, Kyanah, you could be going through depression. And I was like, I'm too young to go through depression.
See, and that's the thing. Hold that thought, because that's the thing. When you go through depression at a young age, it is so weird because it's like, I'm so young. Why am I going through this? But go ahead and finish.
So I was like, I am too young to be going through this. Like, what is wrong with me? So, again, she took me to the doctor. Doctor said therapist. I said no, because what do I look like going to somebody about how I'm feeling?
Yeah.
Antidepressants. I said, no, I think I could work through this on myself, on my own. Try to work through it on my own. Couldn't. So at that time, I had got put in Ladies Under Construction, which is a girl group to help young ladies. My mentor, which was Miss Moore at the time, she definitely pushed me to start doing stuff, find something to do, keep myself busy. And after that, it was like, I remembered when I was younger, I did like a couple of modeling shows, maybe about 2 or 3.
Yeah.
It had came back to me like, oh, I used to model. Maybe I should try that out. And then after that, I ended up being in a show. I think it was in Atlanta. That was my first show I think I had did when I started back up modeling. Ended up doing that. And after that, got put in a pageant.
Yeah.
I've always wanted to do pageants when I was younger, and I was like, hey, might as well give it a try. If I lose, I lose. If I win, hooray. Ended up going to Atlanta, did the fashion show. It was great. Did the pageant. I won in my division. So I think with me doing that pageant, it definitely boosted my confidence because I was the only black girl. And at that time in the pageant, I was super scared because all of the other contestants did not look like me. So it had gave me a lot of anxiety, and especially before I went on, I was crying because I'm like, I can't do this. They're all so beautiful. Look at them. They got these nice dresses on. They know everything about pageants, and it's like, I don't know nothing. I came in here blindsided. So I had anxiety. And it was hard for me because I've never dealt with anything like this, and I've never, talked to anybody about it. So I ended up, picking myself up. And then after that, I had won, and it was great. And I had a little bit of confidence that came back, but it wasn't enough for me to be completely back to normal.
Right.
So, I started doing more shows. I went out in the community with my pageant, crown and sash, and it was like every time I did something, I felt myself slowly start to come back, whether it be go feeding the homeless, doing a show somewhere in Indianapolis or out of state, talking to girls about bullying, which was my platform. It had made me feel so much better that I was keeping myself busy and keeping my hands full because me imagining myself not doing anything, I feel like I would be back in that dark space, not talking to anybody, not eating, not going outside, not doing anything. So I feel like definitely keeping my hands full definitely helped me get back to my normal program.
Yeah. So us growing up, because it seemed like we grew up differently, but kind of the same. Because I do believe that you grew up being close with your dad, but not really your mom. Okay, so I grew up being close with my mom and not really my dad. Okay, so what I want to know is your experience being close with your dad and not being as close with your mom, and then I'm gonna
Talk about my experience being close with my mom and not my dad. So you can start it off.
So I've always been a daddy's girl. Me and my father, our birthdays are 2 days apart. Mine is July 2nd, his is July 4th.
Oh,
So we used to celebrate our birthdays. I would go down to Chicago because that's where he stays. We all, go to the beach, cake and ice cream. And it's just always been that way. With my mom didn't have me growing up.
Mm-hmm.
So I think since I was 6 months, I've always lived with my grandparents.
Okay.
So that's kind of how I shifted over to not really being associated with my mother.
Mm-hmm.
When I was little, I would go down and see her in Iowa because that's where she was living at the time.
Mm-hmm.
We'll go down and see her for a couple of days and then, drive back to Indiana. But it's like I never had that mother figure that I would see everybody else with.
Uh-huh.
It's always been me and my grandma
Right.
and grandpa. But really me and my grandma because that's really who I ride with.
Mm-hmm.
That's my go-to person. So it was just seeing everybody else with the mother figure, it kind of set me back a little bit. And it was like, wow, like I see everybody going on these mommy-daughter dates and going out of town together and the matchy. And it was just like, I wish I could have that.
Yeah.
But it was, the older I got, I think I started to understand a little bit more of why I did not have such a good relationship with her.
Mm-hmm.
And I kind of want to break that train of not having a mother figure.
Right.
So it's kind of been definitely this year, it's definitely took a huge turn on my life because I no longer talk to my mother.
Mm-hmm.
I ended up stopped talking to her about January 2nd.
Oh.
So ever since January 2nd, it's just been me and my grandma. I see my dad every now and then. He still talks to me. We still have a great relationship. But it's just, I don't have the best relationship. It's not like I can just call her and be like, hey, Mom, can I talk to you? Or, Mom, this happened at school today. Or, Mom, can you come to this? It's just never been that I could run to her. It's always been run to Grandma. Grandma, let me talk to you,
See, now that is what's really surprising because it's like, first of all, you're the first person I ever met that never had like a true relationship with their mother, which is really, really surprising to me. Cause me personally, I've always been close to my mom, but never my dad. Okay. Like I said, I lived in a 7 people household, and it used to be me and my 2 sisters in one room, all my brothers in another room, and then my mother and father would be in the living room. Okay. And as I would put it, as my mother, she would work all the time. My father, listen, I don't know what that man did, okay? I can't say hustler because I don't know if that's true. But all I know is I would say he was there, but he wasn't there. And what I mean by that is he was so hooked onto his game that it was like the rest of the world was not like around him. Like his children was not there. And he will try to do things, but it never seemed like it was really coming from the heart.
Like it wasn't genuine.
Yeah, it just seemed like, you're my child here. Do this, do that. And me personally growing up, I don't know, I feel like it kind of affected me a little bit because it's like, you are a father. I need you to be a father figure to me, okay? I need you to show me as much love and support as my mother is showing me.
Right.
Because growing up with 5 other siblings is rough, okay? It is really rough, especially back then. You can't go to the movies because it's too expensive. You can't go out to eat because it's too expensive. And I don't even want to talk about the in household situation because listen, the way my father did things to me personally, I would say it was pretty wrong. Like there would be times where we wasn't able to go inside the refrigerator without his permission, right? And I remember one day my siblings, I think it was my older brother, he went inside the refrigerator anyways, took something out of it. My father got upset. He locked the refrigerator and locked the deep freezer and locked the cabinets. I am not kidding. I am so serious. He locked everything. We could not get inside unless you put the code in. So we will literally have to wait until my mother gets home and cook. And with that situation being the way it was, it kind of made me feel like I was some type of orphan or I was in an adopted family because I'm like, we're all family. I get you know, money is a little tight. You know, you got 6 kids, but at the same time, it's like we can't go all day hungry.
Right.
And, you know, I get you don't want us to eat everything, but it's like we're kids, we're young. You know, we run out of energy fast. We need to fuel up and go back outside and play, and that's another thing. They hated. Well, I want to say they. My father hated us staying inside the house for too long. Like he would tell us, go outside, go do this, go do that. He just did not want us staying inside the house. And if we got in trouble, then we would be locked up in our rooms, like we couldn't leave.
Right.
And growing up in that type of situation was really, really rough because I'm already going through it in school. And then I got to come home and deal with all this BS. And it's just like, it's too much.
Right.
So as I got older, my mother and my father, they split. Thank God. I'm not gonna go into that situation because it's real messy. Okay, it's real messy. But they split. Me and my mother and all my siblings, we moved to one side of the town, and my father, he moved to the other side of the town. At one point in my life, I think I was 14. I did go live with my dad for a little bit, but it was under certain, you know, circumstances. That's the reason why. We grew a little bit of a bond, but not too much. You know, I'm still like, you know, you're my dad, but it's like, let's just keep our distance.
Right.
When I turned 15, that is when me and my mother moved away and moved here to Indianapolis. And that is when a whole new life for Yavi, you know, was created. And I got to really get even more closer with my mom. And when I tell you, she is so supportive. She is so amazing. And I'm just grateful because the way you have that bond with your grandma is a bond I've never had with my grandma. Yes, I love my grandma. We talk all the time. But it's like I never seen her as much. She was never really around because she lived so far. And with her living so far and my mother's always busy in school, I just never had the time.
Right.
And it even made me really sad because I realized because she passed away, I want to say 3 years ago, it made me realize that, dang, I really never got to build that relationship with my grandma like that. So I always, you know, confided into my mother. I always, you know, told my mother everything. And I say everything, I mean everything. I remember I told her about my first boyfriend that I had, which didn't last. But yeah, and I'm actually like seeing the route that I took now, I'm actually very happy that I made the decisions that I made because look where I'm at now. If I didn't make the decisions that I made, you know, back then, I would have never been here. I would never be able to meet the Kyanah Chanel. You know, I would have never be able to meet Andre the Beast or any of that. So I am very, very excited, you know, and I'm very, very happy that I did take the route that I decided to take and nobody else told me to take. It was all me, my choice.
I love that.
So growing up, Kyanah, how did your grandma feel about dating?
Oh. Okay. It wasn't so much of my grandmother. It was more so of my father and my grandfather. When I was younger, my father would always tell me the 7 B's. Books before boys because boys bring babies.
Ooh, period. Yes, I like that.
So that's always been something that's stuck with me. Because I always think about it. When I'm in school, no boy trying to talk to me. No, thank you. No, thank you. Because it's like I've already had this talk with my father. Boys only want one thing and one thing only.
Yeah.
So I always keep that in mind. My grandma said when you turn 16, you have your first boyfriend. So, man, when I tell you I cannot wait to turn 16, I quite literally mean I cannot wait to turn 16. I ended up getting a boyfriend at 16 when I told you I couldn't wait. 16, I got my first boyfriend. And it's just, I feel like she's taught me so many things to keep in mind when dating. Especially my father as well. I've learned so much how to respect one another, how to communicate with one another. I feel like those are definitely important aspects in dating. Especially with boundaries as well.
Oh yeah, boundaries is a big one.
So I feel like when I was younger, I was so ready to get a boyfriend or be in a relationship. But when middle school came, it was like a whole different ballpark.
Right.
There was, especially coming back from school in COVID, it was definitely a lot more boys, lots of more options. But then going into high school, that's like the Ivy League. Like, there are so many boys, there are so many options to choose from, but it takes time. And I feel like I definitely took my time when picking out who I wanted to be with. How about you?
See, it's so crazy because, like I said, growing up, I was always to myself, didn't really talk to boys or anything like that. And I honestly didn't know when I was going to be in a relationship. Honestly, 15, nothing. 16, still nothing. 17, nothing. 18, that is when I got my first boyfriend. And it came so randomly. Once again, I started modeling. And during that time, I met this lady. Her name is Yolanda, okay? And she was also a model, a senior model. And she was like, I have this son. At the time, he was 21. And I'm like, oh, do you really have this son? She was like, yeah. She was like, I think y'all would get along so well. And I think y'all be perfect for each other. She showed me a picture. I was like, 21 is a little bit too old for me. I'm 18, okay? Just turned 18 by
Just
like 4
months
ago, okay? So I'm like, I don't really know. So she was like, let me just introduce you to him. So I remember one day I was going over to her house to get my hair done because I had this show. It was called the 765 show down in Anderson, Indiana. And I went over there to get my hair done. And I remember walking inside her house, going straight to the bathroom because that's where she was. She was in the bathroom doing her hair. I remember her son came out the room. And he just looked at me. He said, who are you? I said, oh, hi, I'm Yavi. And I said, I came to get my hair done. He was like, oh, okay. Walked away, went back to the room. And she was like, that's him. That's the son. I said, oh, okay. So fast forward. We are at the 765 show, and, we end up sharing Snapchats and stuff like that. And ever since then, we just start texting, texting randomly. And then one day he was like, I think you should come over. I think we should hang out. And I was like, oh, okay, cool. We can do that. Hung out a couple times. Hung out, nothing, just talking, chilling. One day he told me when we was hanging out, he was like, I really like you, but I just got out of a relationship. I don't think I'm ready to go in another relationship. Now, when he said that, we already kissed like days and weeks prior to him saying this. So I'm like, where did this just come from? Like, we already kissed. Y'all
basically together at this point.
We basically together. What are you saying? So I was like, you know what? I'm just going to take the L. Okay, that's fine. Weeks go by, didn't text, didn't call, because once when you say that, baby, no more communication. All communication is dropped, okay? So I remember one day I came back in town. He texted me. He was like, hey, what you doing? I said, nothing. He said, okay. Left it at that. Fast forward, a couple weeks go by. He texted me again. What you doing? I said, nothing. He said, okay, cool. He said, you should come by so we can talk. I said, not really finna. Still went over there anyways. We talked. Kept it cute, kept it cool, end up leaving. Okay? Now, fast forward again, it's been like a month now. Oof. Not really that much communication going on. I remember Yolanda, she was like, hey, let's do a photo shoot at my house. I said, sure. She got like a nice little house, got like a nice little alleyway. It's real cute. So I was like, okay, went over there. Did the photo shoot. He was watching the whole entire time. I'm talking about just watching. I'm like, wait a minute. You just said you don't want me no more. So why is you? Okay. So I remember it was really hot that day. Really hot. And then if you know me, you know I cannot do heat. I will pass out. Okay.
Girl,
heat stroke.
You ain't lying.
Can't do it. So I remember going inside the house. And I remember changing my clothes because I had another outfit to wear. Came out in the outfit. He was like, hey, let me talk to you real quick. I said, oh, here we go. He was like, so how's the dating life going? Going exactly the same the way it started. I mean, ain't nothing. Like, you was the first person I ever really talked to, for real. He was like, oh, okay, so you're not talking to anybody else? I said, no. You've been the only person so far. And he was like, okay, well, remember how I told you that, I wasn't really looking for a relationship? He was like, well, I kind of changed my mind. He was like, how about we become friends with benefits? And I'm like, this is my first time I've ever dealt with a situation like this. So friends with benefits? I'm not really sure, but I was like, you know what? Let's do it. Let's see where it goes. Let me spice up my life a little bit because my life has been boring, okay? Spice up my life a little bit. And ever since, we've just been like this. And we are going on 3 years, June 25th, okay?
I love that.
So I'm just happy that I decided to spice up my life a little bit. So how long have you and your boyfriend been dating for?
To him, it would be 3 years in October because we met when I was a freshman and when he was a sophomore. But I would say we had our first hangout about a year ago. So we technically been dating for like a year. But to him, he would say 3 years. It would be 3 years, October 6th.
Oh.
So yeah.
So what do y'all do?
Oh, our relationship is basically based off of sleeping, eating, and that's it.
Oh wait, why is that us for real? Like, I'm sorry, because I don't know. Me and my boyfriend, we love eating. Okay,
Man.
and I'm not talking about no simple fast food. No, baby, we like to go to nice restaurants.
Yes.
We like the good fancy
Yes.
food. Okay.
Don't get me started on Cheesecake Factory.
Oh, listen, I don't eat cheesecake, but let me tell you something. They breakfast and they dinner. Oh, baby, you can catch me there all the time.
I love. When I say we love eating, I quite literally mean we love eating.
Listen, I love eating. He loves eating. He pays for it, so I'm just always there. You know, I would never turn down. He'd be like, "Hey, you want to go here?" Yes, let's go. I got my purse. I got everything. Let's go. Let's do it. And it's crazy because my mother, she loves it, but she be hating. Okay, and she would never say she be hating. She be like, "Didn't y'all just go there? Didn't y'all?" Yeah, we sure did.
Oh, my grandma is literally the same way. When I say, she be like, "Didn't y'all just see each other yesterday?" Yeah, and we're gonna see each other today.
Well, what is the whole point of a relationship if we're not going to see each other?
Exactly.
I mean, what do you even call that? Long distance?
I don't at this point, but it feels like long for me and my boyfriend. It feels like long distance, but we literally live 9 minutes away from each other.
That is so crazy. I wish I could say the same. It definitely don't feel like long distance because we live together. But right now, this is long distance, okay? Because I'm telling you, not to say that I'm one of them girls that like to be all up under her boyfriend, but I am. I am one of those girlies that like to be all up over her boyfriend because I don't know. I just like, he's like my best friend. A best friend that I've never had, okay? And I'm being so for real. A best friend I've never had.
Yes.
And he's just so supportive.
I love that.
And I know your boyfriend is supportive.
Yes. You will see him at least a couple of shows here in Indiana. He literally just popped up in Chicago for that model icon show that we were at.
Listen.
Didn't even know I didn't even know he was coming.
For all the viewers out here, y'all need to get y'all boyfriend like Kyanah boyfriend because baby, when he popped up in that Chicago show out of nowhere.
Didn't even know he told me he wasn't coming because he was busy.
And there he was. I was like,
in the audience.
Oh, and he was. I'm talking about every time that girl hit the runway, the phone was out and it was recorded.
He's definitely my number one. Well, I would say number two. My grandma is my number one supporter, but he is definitely my number two supporter. He supports me in quite literally everything I do. Like,
so you guys just had prom. How was that?
Yes. Oh my gosh, prom was so good. I definitely feel like we were best dressed for prom.
Oh yeah.
I feel like I was best dressed, like top 1 for my grade as a junior, but I feel like as an overall, I had to at least been like top 5, top 3.
Yeah, they really ate that out.
Because when I tell you we was clean from head to toe, and when I mean toe, I tell you with the red bottoms on, you could not tell us nothing like at all.
It wasn't even just the red bottoms. It was the red bottom nails for me, baby. Listen.
Man, when I tell y'all we was clean, we was fresh, we had a whole production. That's what it felt like. I felt like I was an A-list celebrity.
See, and that's the thing. Like, my prom, it was so different. Like, I'm gonna be honest, I did not care for prom. Okay? Because being homeschooled and going to prom, that don't even make sense. Okay? Homeschool prom, what is that?
Right.
I remember because I got the email and I was like, oh, prom's coming up. And I'm like, okay, prom's coming up. And it was like, here's the location to where prom is. And I'm like, oh, okay, cute. I guess I'll go, even though I don't know nobody, okay? We are all homeschooled here. Who do we really know?
Right.
Got dressed up, put on a little simple something. Got to the building, the most depressing thing I've ever been to, okay? When I say I didn't know anybody, the juice was watered down, the food was terrible, the music they was playing, I don't even want to talk about the music, okay?
Oh, the music is supposed to be the best part. The music and the food is supposed to be the best part.
I felt like I was back in 2011, 2012.
I definitely feel like prom has definitely evolved over the years. I feel like prom for us now is definitely Met Gala now.
Oh yeah, because the things I be seeing on the internet about prom, people be pulling up with Lamborghinis,
Rolls Royces, G-Wagons. The dresses be all the way up here. Hair be slayed.
Where did you get the money from?
No, for real. They be doing horses and carriages now. Where y'all get a horse and carriage from?
I'm trying to figure that out. People be walking with diamonds, and I'm like, where is this money really coming from?
Where was this back in the day? I know my parents ain't had this back in the day.
No.
I'm trying to figure out where this came from.
I don't know where people got the inspiration from, but it was just like every time when I open Facebook or TikTok, that's all I'm seeing is prom.
Prom. You'll probably see it till like June.
Oh yeah, and I'm just like, baby, these dresses is giving like
they giving $1,500 dresses, maybe $2,000 dresses.
And I'm like, now where do you just get the funds to just do that? Because
literally,
me personally. And I always say this, if it was my kids, I love you, I really do, but I'm not about to drop so much money for one day. Respectfully for people that do it. It's cute and everything, but it's like, this is one day.
I understand that, but like, I'm extra. Like, when I say extra, yeah, you'll probably pull up to prom in a horse and carriage. Maybe not. But like, I feel like I'm so over the top. It's like, I feel like everybody should be over the top. Like, I feel like if you're going to do something, do it big. Like, people should be talking about you even after that. You know?
Yeah. Go all out.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Especially senior year, go big or go home.
Oh, baby, go big or go home. Because I'm telling you, my senior year, I went home. I definitely did. I stayed there for around like 5 minutes. Oh, yeah, I went home. Yeah, you can ask my mama. She said, what did y'all do for prom? I dropped her off. She went around the corner. 5 minutes later, I said, I'm ready to go.
Ooh,
baby, I just couldn't do it. It's just not for me. And that's where this whole... Maybe that's where my... point of view comes from with this whole prom thing. I'm so bland, y'all. I really am. Like, I'm just a bland person. I like my anime, you know, I like my TV, I like my snacks, and I like all that. I'm just not a extra person. There's nothing wrong with the extras. We always love the extras because,
of course.
Come on now.
If you don't love the extra, then I don't know about you.
But I don't know. Like, for me, I just stick with the basics.
Right.
I know Kyanah different. If you know Kyanah,
if you know Kyanah, you know I'm extra. You know, if it's like, if we going out to dinner, you know I'm going to pull up in a fur coat and a pair of heels. It don't matter.
All right, so with this being our first episode of Beyond the Beauty, how are you feeling?
I am super excited. I can't wait for us to watch this show blossom. I can't wait to see where this takes us as well. I definitely think this is going to open a lot of doors that me or you did not see coming. But I'm just super excited. How about you?
I'm also feeling excited. I also can't wait to see where this podcast take us because I know it's only going to take us up. There's nowhere else to go but up. But thanks, everybody, for watching the first episode of Beyond the Beauty.
Yes.
Once again, it is your hostess, Yavi Wasabi.
And the Kyanah Chanel.
And you're watching Beyond the Beauty. No expectations.
No opportunities.
Underestimation.
And this is why we are the table.
Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. And Kyanah, what's the tip of the day?
The tip of the day is don't wait. Just do it.